welcome back, everyone. This is going to be episode 2 of the Stewartville Wrestling Update podcast. I got a extra host on with us today as well. Not only are we stuck with Heath, but we get a little better job here with JV coach Joel. Can you believe what I just said, Cole? JV coach Cole Roeder. Not only a Stewartville alumni, but been coaching with the program quite a while here. And not only are we going to go over some stuff about the weekend, obviously, but we wanted to give Cole the opportunity to talk about what's going on, especially with some of our JV wrestlers, as it's a different COVID year and we're kind of splitting the room a little bit from the sounds of it. And obviously, I live with the other JV coach and I hear all about it, but I think the people need to hear about some of the cool stuff that's going on. So, Cole, why don't you talk about a little bit about how things are going on JV this year, whether it's events and how training's going?
Sure. Yeah. We are up on the stage. We have the younger guys, Coach Geldy and I, and we are trying to mold these kids into something that will have an identity as they go forward up to the varsity. Kind of a way we want our program to look in the future. So we are breaking down and right to the basics and rebuilding these kids, and the questions and stuff we get from the kids is awesome. Like they're ready to learn, and they're taking what we got and they're running with it. You can tell that it clicks when it works out for them. These coaches can talk all they want, but when the kids actually do it out on the mat and that look comes in their eyes, like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. We had a kid, we were doing far ankle, far knee breakdown, and kid did that to a kid in Casson and just did it the whole match and worked this kid over. And he came off the mat and he says, I honestly didn't think that was going to work, but I wanted to try it so you could get off my back, and it actually works. So I think that's gratifying to us and for the kids to see that it actually does work. We're also working on our explosions, whether that be on the bottom, on the top, bottom for sure. We want to see that first move, and we're kind of letting the kids know, hey, everybody's watching you, and they are responding awesome. They are exploding out, stand-ups, whatever it may be. So I really think that Geldy and I are getting to these kids. We have had some lumps. We ran into a team in Goodhue and Glencoe up there in Goodhue, and that Glencoe team was pretty good. They were varsity-looking athletic kids, so we were kind of outmatched a little bit. And Goodhue was pretty tough, but we came around against the roster schools on Saturday, both JM and Century. Century, I was really ecstatic on how they wrestled. I think they're starting to turn a corner, and these matches we're losing really close, they're going to start to win those and then build upon it. So I'm excited what these kids have got to show.
Yeah, and I think, again, kind of as an outside observer, it's very evident, right? I mean, the kids are excited about it, just kind of sitting on the stage, watching everything unfold yesterday. I mean, not only their kids are excited, but I'm glad you said that everybody's watching you, right? Because I'm losing it on the stage every time I hear you say that. And
Right.
But they respond, like you said, like when it's in between, like there's a quick break, they go out of bounds, they're not pulling up their sock, they're going to the middle, and you're letting them know, hey, show's on, time to go. And I have to ask, and this is probably something for both of you, what is the 2-second stand-up? Because I heard it about 15 times, and I feel like I know a lot of wrestling technique, but I ain't heard about the 2-second stand-up. Am I missing something here?
I think that goes back to Bakken was promising a steak dinner. Was it 2 or 3 seconds? Might have been 2. But them kids can get a stand-up super, super quick, get out.
2 or 3.
Yeah, it was, I think Bakken promised some kids steak dinners, and I think Geldy and I just used that. I don't know if it's still up for grabs, but we just use that to kind of entice the kids, and it's contagious. I mean, they see one kid do it, it's contagious. So you get that bench and that crowd going, and it's just perfect things from there, man.
And it's something that they obviously related to now, right? Like maybe they don't understand, like how many middle school kids really understand the word explosion,
Right.
Like when you tell them to explode, they get up from the couch. No, you explode up from the couch. Like those are different things, right?
Yep.
Getting up from bottom, exploding from bottom, different things. But you say 2 second stand up. I tell you what, you could tell those kids cue off it. So
Yeah.
that was really awesome too. And you guys, so from what I gather, Heath and I were kind of talking last week. You're on the stage, so you're kind of separated, and you're talking about you're focusing on a lot of basics.
Yes. I
That's
actually
also
think,
very evident.
yeah, I think it's actually good that we are on the stage, and that Geldy and I took that over, because throwing those younger kids in, even if they're more advanced as sixth graders, I think they get too far thinking, oh, I need to know all of these moves. But as well as I do, when you get up to that state tournament, you got a handful of moves, and you better be able to do them good. You're not seeing the crazy moves up there all the time. It's your basic stuff.
And if you do have a crazy move, you also have 2 or 3 basic moves, and that is
Right.
one of the 1 or 2 things that you're good at. You don't have 15 crazy moves that you're throwing.
Right. Yep. So I figure we're really good at some base moves, and then we can throw in that other stuff. Another
That's
wrinkle
awesome.
to it. Yep.
And yeah, it sounds like, again, living with Nate and talking with you guys, you guys are kind of doing your own thing, and Heath's kind of giving you guys the latitude. Heath, kind of talk about letting them take over a little bit and having a little ownership of that.
Well, this was something we talked about last year before we even got to, like I said in the last episode, COVID kind of forced some things on us. Like this was something that back to this. This is actually how I got my start as a coach, is when we were in 2 separate rooms. And when you have that, right, you can cater to the level that you have. But on the same vein, like, those coaches can raise the bar up on them guys, and they don't know any different, what their bar is versus what our bar is. And I think that's what Coach Roeder, Coach Geldy are doing now is, now they've got a base of what they want to do. And now we're starting to hear about, okay, tonight they went 30, 40 minutes live or what, and so now they're starting to, raise the bar on themselves as the guys get their base. And some guys come back and say, hey, we might not have had a good night. We didn't have, against Lake City, for example, they didn't have a great night, but they came back to Friday and they were like, God, that might have been our best practice yet. So those are the kind of things that tell me, and I think tell all of us, that this is working. We got to stay the course. We got to stay consistent with it. And like you said, there's still a lot of things to go, once we get the technique. Obviously, like any wrestler, there's mental things to go. But I think we can challenge them in the ways that they need to be challenged. And like I said, I see the positives already. So I think those guys are doing a great job up there. Like you say, coaches and athletes all the way around.
Awesome. Well, Cole's a little busy today. I appreciate you coming on. I know it's kind of it's Sunday afternoon and it's beautiful out. You got fresh snow on the ground. You want to get out ripping. So we'll let you get going. Anything else you want to say before you head off?
No, that's good, man. I just everybody out there, if you can come along, parents, everything, help show that enthusiasm for our kids. It only makes them wrestle harder.
And it keeps them in the sport, man. You get a 7th or 8th grader feeling like a bunch of people care about them. Like they know when it's genuine and when it's happening, and they want to be a part of it too. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.
You bet. And then there were 2. Hopefully Heath, his connection isn't awful the whole time, but we'll find out. Heath, you want to talk a little bit about varsity this weekend? You guys had Goodhue, you had Glencoe, you had Century and JM on Saturday at home. Just give us a recap. What happened? What's the feeling like? Where are you going into this week?
Well, obviously, when we talked last week, we were only supposed to be having Goodhue on a Friday night. And as of like anything in this COVID area, things changed fast. Wednesday afternoon, I think we got contacted about adding another team, and we jumped on the opportunity to get a third. So we got Glencoe Silver Lake in. Again, it was a good match, not necessarily how we wanted it. We lost 38-37. We look at that as, okay, we can find 1 point. As heartbreaking as it is, right? There was a lot of positives. We're starting to see some of the things again that we talked about last week, that we're showing the things, we're starting to see it. We just got to get more consistent about it. The kids got to, continue to go to it. And some of these habits we're trying to break, it just takes time. So we just got to keep working on it. That match, a little bit up and down, but Hunter Carnets at 106 received a forfeit. Jace Young at 113 went out, got firing right away, got a major decision for us. Reed Wren, been wrestling real well for us, got a fall. Lucas Larson at 132, I got a forfeit there, and found a regular decision. And then at the top end, Christian and Caden both received forfeits there, kind of where we got our wins through on that one. Goodhue, we dropped that one 51-18. Again, a duel that we didn't expect quite that big a spread on. I think, again, a little bit of a heartbreak from the first one, and then, making sure that we bounce back, as we go forward. A lesson to learn. Again, just kind of recapping that one, Hunter Carnets, unfortunately, nobody wanted to wrestle that guy that night, man. He couldn't get a match, so he won by forfeit again. Reed Wren got a decision right on the door of a major. Blake Carr won by decision, and then Christian Sackett won by a fall. But there were some other good matches in there, some close decisions. Caden King lost a 1-point match. Zielinski's in a couple-point match. Yesterday, we had both the Rochester schools in town. We planned this event way, prior to all the COVID stuff, or at least the second wave of it. And I think, it would have been nice to get a few more matches as far as the varsity was going, but knowing that obviously we have an alumni, Mike Schmitz at John Marshall, we have a connection with you former coaching at Century, and knowing Joel and them guys, them Rochester schools are at a challenge with their kids being in the distance learning, and I know the struggles that we have just with the hybrid and whatnot, and then to be in that mode and try and get kids to practice and all that is a challenge. So, we just appreciate them coming out and giving us what they call. We beat JM 70-6. I won't go through all the forfeits, but Reed Wren had a fall. He's really looking strong right now. Lucas Larson come out, got a fall. He had been injured earlier in the year, so starting to get him going in the right direction now. Blake Carr continued major decision there. And then Caden King came out and finished it off with a fall. There's another guy that's just looking tough right now. He's starting to understand how physical he is and what he can bring. Then we turned around with Century, 66-12 win there. Again, won't go through all the other highlights, but Reed Wren with a fall, Blake Carr with a fall, Keegan with a fall. We dropped a couple other decisions in there that I thought we could have got. Anthony Nelson was in a match, and third period we got turned there. But overall, like you say, it was a positive weekend. Some guys that needed to get, some good matches got them. Some guys that maybe needed just a little recovery. You hate to say that, but guys that were, a little banged up, they got out of there to get a little bit of recovery time, and we'll go forward to this next week. So, but like Cole had said earlier, we got a lot of great JV matches down there, getting some W's down there. So that was great to see all the way across.
Yeah, overall, I think it was a pretty, and as a coach and as a strictly wrestling person who, quite frankly, couldn't care less if there's a spotlight or even if we're in a gym most of the time. I thought the event worked really well to showcase the kids and get them really useful experience, right? Regardless of developmental level, the JV matches, like, they looked really contested, right? And sometimes it's hard to make those matchups, or even on varsity. When you got those matches, I think it was still valuable mat time for everybody involved. So Saturday, as you alluded to earlier, it was really fun. I appreciate the people who made it possible that I could attend and come in, because like Heath said, those guys are all kind of, without stealing your phrase there, Stewartville, but they're all kind of family, right? As somebody who coached with Century and Mike, obviously being at JM, as well as the rest of the JM staff. I mean, Louis and Louis and Chad come out and work out in the club room. So it was really fun to just get back in and see everybody and be in the middle school gym. Like it felt nothing like normal. It wasn't a normal triangular night. The lights are on. It's the middle of the day. People are getting ushered in and out. All these COVID protocols that we need to follow. But for the situation that we have, I think that the kids got a lot out of it. And obviously, at the end of the day, that's what we're doing here, right? So overall, and it also looked like the kids kind of bounced back. Would you agree?
Yeah, and we got the guys up, and we actually got them in and worked them out early in the morning. Just 8:00, we're going to get a workout in, and it's something we started doing last year that we've seen a lot of positive when we had a Saturday event. We'd get the guys in and we'd work them out for 45 minutes before we departed. And we've seen a lot of positives out of it. And, again, that's kind of what we did this year. So we had guys in right away at 8:00 in the morning, getting a light drill. We drilled them for 45 minutes, and it almost gets at where you've wrestled your first match. And I think there again, it kind of gets your head back in the game that it's a new day. And then that's what we preached, right? Is Friday night's done. Today's a new day. And we just got to keep attacking each day. We alluded to that last week. Every day is a positive, and you got to embrace each day that you get. And I thought the guys bounced back really well. I thought the bench energy was just amazing. We actually did have a parent from one of the opposing schools come down to our coaches, and we're like, man, the team chemistry you guys got going right now is just awesome. And it is. The guys are just they're doing a great job as far with what you can, right? And that's the things that I feel like are really going to help push us over the edge.
Well, and even, with having a split room, right, that it is such an awesome opportunity for those kids to receive the instruction and the technique and to be integrated into the system, right? That's awesome. But one thing that does take away is it can affect, if you don't maneuver things properly, like you said, that team chemistry. But again, as third party observer, as I'm watching, right, you had seniors and juniors, kids that people look up to, people that lead your team are screaming for these 7th and 8th graders, right? Which is, again, not something that normally happens in a triangular, because they'd be wrestling at the same time, right? Not that they wouldn't be cheering for the teammates, but you'd be wrestling your duel here and JV's here. Well, for some of the duels, they didn't go at the same time. And then, of course, at the end, I don't know if people could see on the Facebook stream, but a lot of the varsity kids ended up going and sitting mat side. And I'm sure you could see it from the stream, but like if you were on the varsity stream, it would be from that view. That was kind of cool to see too. So even with, something, again, another challenge, right? Another hurdle with this COVID stuff, as far as splitting the room and potentially having some separation a little bit of the team. It seems like things are staying pretty cohesive. So I think that's attributing to their ability to bounce back, the positive feelings around the program, everybody looking forward to things. I think all that adds up. And I guess you agree, I would assume.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just one example that I thought was awesome, because I was kind of standing behind the guys, is Jackson Hewitt was one of the guys on the mat and was running a leg in guillotine type of position and was needing some tweaks. And I see him, and Coach Roeder was on the other side of him, couldn't see him. And, he's yelling instructions, but couldn't see him. Well, all of our team is right there, and they're saying, do this, and boom, he makes the adjustment and, flattens the guy out. He's got that mindset, hey, I literally watched his eyes go up, looks ahead at some of our guys and listens and takes it in, and bam. So those are the things that I really.
That's what it's about, man. Getting kids that are coachable, kids that are adaptable. I mean, those are the kind of kids that you want around in your program. And I think that Stewartville has a lot of them, and they're in the right spot. Hopefully as it continues to grow, hopefully more people jump on board. Moving kind of past the weekend here, we'll go into a little bit of youth news. I know there were some MinUSA qualifiers going on this weekend. I think Centennial hosted one up at their place in Coon Rapids. So those of you looking for MinUSA qualifiers, you can find those on minusawrestling.org. I don't know how far out again they are scheduled. Again, everybody's flying by the seat of our pants, and I think that would be youth organizations in general right now all over the nation are trying to figure out how we're going to make this work. I talked to Troy Koenig a little bit. He reached out via email, and I appreciate that, Troy, giving us some information about practice. It sounds like there's been some mats rolled out at the Sportsman's Club, and they've got guys rolling and guys and gals. Guys as athletes to me, but we got athletes rolling down at the Sportsman's Club, and things are going well. Obviously it's a change and there's some adaptations to be made, but again, thumbs up coming from there as far as what I'm hearing. And they're going to continue to move forward working out there at least some of the times. Yep. Next week, Heath, what do you got going on next week?
So next week we're a Friday, Saturday again. At this point, we got a home duel with Zumbrota on Friday. And then Saturday, we have a reschedule makeup with Pine Island in Pine Island. Again, who knows at this point? They're both scheduled to be duels, but you never know what the week's going to bring. They both could turn into triangulars, and so who knows? But at this point, we got Friday night home with Zumbrota and Saturday away at Pine Island.
And that's a home duel. It'll be a little different again, hopefully. I'm glad these kids get that experience, because as a Stewartville wrestler, and this is probably something I'll discuss with Mike later when we clip his interview in, but there's something about wrestling a duel in Stewartville in the middle school gym. And obviously we can't pack it, and it can't be hot, and everything people would like probably for a traditional classic Stewartville high school duel. But again, I'm glad that these kids are getting the opportunity, regardless of the situation, to get a duel in at home, to wrestle in front of their family and friends, and compete and show their sport here. So looking forward to that for sure. Some Booster Club news that I wanted to make sure I got in. Thank you to the friends on Facebook, and Natalie Hewitt reached out, got me some info. Bingo nights are still needing help. They are on, I want to say Tuesdays. They're on Tuesdays. Bingo starts at 6:30, but if you're there to help, they need you there at 6:15. Yep. And there's like a long list. They need about 4 people a night. There's a list on the Facebook group. Otherwise, I also have a list, but it seems like Natalie's a person to go to for that. But I know we also mentioned DeYoung and Rin. And basically, if you ask somebody and you want to help, where people are going to find a place for you to help. Don't worry about that. But one night they wanted to highlight was February 16th. Varsity and JV have an event on that Tuesday. And I'll just speak from my experience in Stewartville, and I guess Heath, you can tell me if I'm wrong or right. But one of the things that is already happening really well, because I can see it from the list, is that you have such a wide array of families that are volunteering their time. Right? It's not just high school kids. It's not just youth kids. Like I'm looking down the list and I don't even know some of the names. Right? So that's telling me, hey, those are probably some youth names or some newer high school names, and that's awesome. But if we can, we'd really like to get some outside people other than varsity and JV parents on that night, so that they could go be at that event. And you don't even have to be a family member. Maybe I can get a couple people together. We'll see what I can figure out. We'll go down and work at Cars. But everybody says it's a blast. It's a great fundraiser for the program. Again, it's Tuesdays at 6:30. If you're not working and you just want to go support it and go check out Cars Bar and Grill in Racine. But February 16th is a date they're really working hard to fill. Also, Booster Club meeting February 14th. That's going to be at 6:30, also at Cars Bar and Grill. So on Valentine's Day, also the date of what other major sporting event, Heath?
what other major sporting event? Wrestling's the only sport that matters, isn't it?
Well, the Daytona 500 is on February 14th. I just see the advertisements all the time, so I'm excited for it because the advertisements told me to be.
Okay.
But hey, that's going on. You're in wrestling mode now. I get it. I'm in the same mode too, but Daytona sounds like fun. But that's going on February 14th. There's a Booster Club meeting. Heath, I guess I'll give you some last words if you want to get anything out before we sign off here, as I'm going to splice Mike's interview in later. And, I guess this will be later because I'll splice it in before now. But thank you to Michael for his time, taking the time to speak with us with some historical things and his experience and how it's brought him to where he is through Stewartville wrestling. But Heath, what do you got to end us on here, man?
Well, I just want to say, as we go through all of this, right? Like, we talk about family, but we got such a good group right now of people. I mean, again, I can't praise our athletes enough for everything they're doing. I can't praise the coaching staff enough for, again, like you said, it's a different look for us as coaches and the things that we got to do. But I mean, we got such great parent support right now. Again, like Natalie Hewitt has grabbed the reins with the bingo and getting the nights covered there. Our booster club, with Corey and Aaron and Tara and Danny, they're getting everything that they can as far as trying to find, the fundraisers. But just overall, all of our parents and the support that they've been given. I mean, all the way to the end of our JV matches yesterday, like it was loud all the way to the end. And those are the things that are so exciting to see, that everybody's bought in. We got people sharing the Facebook links and the live feed links and, all of that all the way around. Everybody's helping everybody around the thing. And that is just so amazing. That's, again, when it's the whole package, that just makes I know it makes me as a coach excited, right? When you got the whole package, it's awesome.
Hey, everybody. Not exactly what we expected as I was trying to load into the video. Our interview and discussion for historical reference with Mike Schmitz wouldn't quite load properly. I'm an amateur podcaster, and this is very on brand for an amateur situation. So I do have Mike's word that he's going to join us next week. We're going to have a little bit different conversation. In fact, one I think that people will enjoy and glean something off of. But I apologize. This is our first bait and switch of the Stewartville Wrestling Update podcast. We won't have Mike Schmitz on. But before we sign off, I do want to make one quick shout out here to our boys down in Upper Iowa, because last week they had kind of a big week. I saw Tanner Prohaska officially graduated. So congratulations to him. He got the diploma, and he's a little more important now. Hopefully you're walking with wider shoulders, Tanner. And Jamie Galen got a big win in some extra matches last week down in Fayette at Upper Iowa as well, as he was competing. So congratulations to both of those guys. Again, apologies for the weird ending to this week's episode of the podcast, but we'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll have Schmitz, maybe some new guests, and hopefully you tune in. Thanks. Find the